Hi, it's Hinda and welcome to Cooking Fantasies. Today we're going to be making a special cake that's almost too beautiful to eat but tastes heavenly. I will show you step by step how to make and assemble this masterpiece cake with plenty of tips and substitutes, so make sure to watch till the end. We're going to make a base that consists of raspberry and almond fondant cake, topped with a crunchy layer of lacy crepes and white chocolate, a heart insert made of raspberry mousse and white chocolate mousse. So let's get started with the fondant base, and this is a very easy cake. We'll need 70 grams of raspberries, 2 eggs, 33 grams of almond flour, 8 grams of cornstarch, 20 grams butter, 35 grams sugar, and 45 grams flour. First, put the butter to melt and beat the eggs with the sugar until the mixture gets fluffy and doubles in size. It is important that the eggs are in room temperature to achieve this result. Then sift in all the dry ingredients, the flour, cornstarch, almond meal, and incorporate everything. Take about 2 tablespoons of the butter and add them to the melted butter that should have slightly cooled down, and incorporate it well before adding it all to the batter. And now gently fold it in using just a scraper. For the baking, use whatever tray or tin you have in hand. It is just important to keep in mind the shape you will be assembling your cake into, and you should be able to cut a piece big enough to make the base. I used frozen raspberries, but you can as well use fresh ones or any other kind of berries that you prefer. It only needs 10 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius to bake, and make sure to allow it to totally cool before removing it from the tin. And meanwhile, we will be preparing the raspberry mousse for the insert. 250 grams of raspberries, 150 milliliters of heavy cream, 8 grams icing sugar, 80 grams white sugar, and 4 gelatin sheets. First, place the gelatin sheets in cold water to hydrate them. Whether you are using frozen berries or fresh ones, process them to obtain a puree. Add the white sugar to it and put it to simmer on a medium to low heat while continuously stirring to prevent the sugar from sticking to the bottom. And as soon as it slightly starts to bubble, remove it from the heat and sieve it to remove all the seeds. And if you are using ready store-bought coulis, then you just have to heat it for the next step. Squeeze the gelatin sheets from water and add them to the coulis while it's still hot, and give it a quick stir to make sure that it all melts properly. Meanwhile, beat the heavy cream with the icing sugar until you get a creamy consistency. To achieve the best results, both the cream and the mixing bowl should be chilled. Now to proceed to this step, your coulis should have cooled to room temperature, and this is very important, otherwise it will just melt your heavy cream and you don't get this nice moussey creamy texture. And gradually incorporate first a third of the cream with the coulis until it's well incorporated, then adding the rest of the cream. Obviously I'm speeding the footage, but you're gonna have to do this gently if you want to keep all the air inside. Now what we want to do is freeze the mousse in order to be able to cut off the heart shapes afterwards. And for this you can use any tray or dish you have in hand, as long as it can go to the freezer. Just keep in mind that the thinner it is, the faster it's gonna freeze. How long it takes to freeze depends on how thick you poured it, how big is your tray, how cold is your freezer, so you can always test with the finger to see if it's ready. And mine was ready in about 40 minutes, so it doesn't take a long time to freeze. Now this is a fun part. Use a heart-shaped cookie cutter to cut off the hearts that we're going to assemble together to build the insert. And once you cut as much hearts as possible, you can still cut off the edges together to build in even more hearts that you're gonna place in the middle, and they will just infuse all together with each other and make a perfect shape. And this is when it gets even more fun. So you're gonna build a tower with all the hearts you cut off, wrap them in a plastic wrap, and replace them in the freezer. Now that the fondant is cold, we can easily cut off the base. And it should be big enough to cover the base of your mold. And off we're gonna make the crunchy layer, for which we will need 70 grams of lacy crepes, and you can also use butter wafers or Rice Krispies, whatever will stay crunchy, 40 grams of almond flakes, and 70 grams of white chocolate. First, melt your chocolate. It melts faster when it's chopped. And then smash, or nicely said, crumble your lacy crepes. To them, add the flaked almonds and the white chocolate and mix everything immediately. And right after mixing it, and while the chocolate is still melted, pour it all on the fondant. Use a knife or spatula to spread it, wrap it, and place it in the fridge for the chocolate to harden. And it's already time to make the white chocolate mousse, for which we will need 100 grams of white chocolate, 200 ml of heavy cream, 4 gelatin sheets, and 70 ml of milk. And as always, place the gelatin sheets in cold water. Melt the white chocolate either in a microwave or a double boiler. Once the chocolate has melted, heat the milk, and you can also use a microwave for this. Now squeeze the gelatin sheets and pour the hot milk over them to melt. Give it a quick stir just to make sure that all the gelatin is very well melted. And while still hot, fold the milk and the gelatin into the white chocolate. Once ready, allow it to cool to room temperature. Now in a chilled bowl, beat the chilled cream with a chilled attitude, it's important. Now slowly and gently incorporate the white chocolate into the cream, just like we did with the raspberry mousse. And again, make sure that your white chocolate is not hot, that it doesn't melt your cream, and make sure to do it as slowly as possible in order not to lose all the air we've incorporated. And we are ready to start assembling the cake. Pour about a third of the white mousse on the bottom of your mold. Give it a quick tap to remove all the air bubbles that might have formed in the bottom, and place it in the freezer for 10 to 15 minutes. While taking it out of the freezer, grab also your heart tower. Heart tower, how cool is that? I use a knife to smoothen the edges to get more sharp lines while cutting, and place them upside down in the center of the mold. And then fill all the gaps with the remaining white chocolate mousse. You can also use a piping bag to make sure all the little gaps are filled. Once all the hearts are covered, flip in the fondant and make sure that the crunchy part is facing the white chocolate mousse. And press it slightly so that the two layers hold on to each other. If you want to use mirror glazing to decorate your cake, then you have to leave it overnight in the freezer. I used red colored mirror glazing, which looked really amazing, and it would also look just as beautiful with velvet spray, or you can use tons of berries and chocolate to decorate your cake. It's totally up to you. And if you want to make this easy and beautiful glazing, I will leave the link in the description box, along with more information and substitutes, and also the ingredients with the American measurements. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me in the comments section. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos. See you soon and happy baking!